Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 9:22 a.m. News and Views with me, Julie Ali, right here on Salam Media. And we are now joined by Imtiaz Sayed, chairperson of eThekwini Secure. This, of course, is the weekly edition of this crime segment, or I should say, really a situation regarding activism, civilian activism. And in this particular instance, very especially the topic of discussion today is really about activism, citizens activism. Imtiaz Said, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, you and I have talked. I mean, I don't do a Thursday show. Normally, I'm standing in for Inayat, he's not around. But in the past, you and I spoke at length about all of these issues. And once again, Imtiaz, this issue has reared its head. And it's about ratepayers associations and its importance in local government. And I ask you the question, I'm sick and tired of all of these issues. When I look around me, when I look at all the wide-scale corruption and how infrastructure is really crumbling, not only in Johannesburg, where I live, but we know what's going down in Durban. The issue around the beaches that were not habitable this past holiday season. The fact that I guess the hospitality industry must have taken quite a knock. That's on the
Absolutely.
one end. What about you guys as, people living and making a living in that area? How has it impacted on you? And are you at a stage where you kind of feel enough is enough? I don't think anything's going to be done, and you just kind of throw in the towel and walk away. Is that the stance we should be taking?
You know, Julie, I think at the end of the day, for many of us that live in this country, the option of leaving this country is not one that we can actually think about, right? Now, based on that, if we decide that we are going to throw in the towel, where to from here and where to from here for the youth of our country at this time, if we as adults living in this season right now can't bring this country to say that, you know what, we're going to get things done and we're going to get it right. Now, we firstly need to compartmentalize issues. And if we don't do that, we're going to end up with a quandary of problems that we're not going to be able to resolve. So the issues that we are facing currently, and if I take you back probably about 10 years ago, you'd know that clearly the path by which things were happening was we all were concerned around the issues of crime. Currently, right now, the dynamic has changed. Crime has taken a backseat, and it's now service delivery has come to the fore. And this is something that we're speaking to. Currently, and we've said this before, local government is where people get services delivered. Yes, provincial government exists, national government exists. Those speak to things that don't affect you daily, right? Now, if everything that we had in terms of our daily lives was in order, then we'd worry about bigger hospitals and ESCOM and all of these things. But currently, right now, we need to have things done at local government level. And the only way to do that is to actually become a part of your ratepayers association. Now, there's a great misconception around the issue of ratepayers association. By design and in history, you'd see that ratepayers association represented a few people that called themselves ratepayers association by virtue of the fact that they wanted to do something, but they didn't have a clear focus and they didn't have really a mandate of the ratepayer in its true form, right? Now, clearly, we know that within eThekwini, and I'm giving you an example of eThekwini because I sit here, right, is that they are rate-paying citizens and they are non-rate-paying citizens. And yes, we are a pro-poor country. We got to speak to social cohesion and the socio-economic ills and all of that. But clearly, there needs to be a definition between a rate-paying citizen and a non-rate-paying citizen, because one is for a paid-for service and one is a non-paid-for service. So by virtue of that, we're calling on everyone to form ratepayers associations, voting district-based and not ward-based, because the dynamics within each ward is very different. And you got to understand that if you take everybody and put them into one little organization, you're not going to resolve any of the issues, because the issues vary based on affluency, based on dynamic, based on the area, based on the type of housing in the area. So these are the things that we are speaking to at the moment, Julie.
Okay. Are people interested enough? by and large, you have communities, and if they have a
Mm.
couple of Imtiaz Sayeds representing them, they're quite happy to, let Imtiaz Sayed go and do all of the work. What are you wanting from people? How committed do you want them to be as regards this situation is concerned?
The thing about anything, and we got to look at government as though it's a business, right? At the end of the day, we the clients of that business. And in order for us to get things done within that business, we need to know who within that council or within that municipality is in charge of what and how to get things done. That's what we're here to do. Doing what we do is very simple. Really, it's very, very simple. And we're here to assist and give you the tools that you need in order to get things done in your area. Obviously, we can't hold your hand and walk you up the stairs all the time. But being said, if communities are involved in their community, we definitely see a great difference in the level of service delivery that comes to them. Now, the question we now raise is that 73% of the operational expenditure, remember, there's two types of expenditure that we get within municipalities. One is called an operational expense, and one is a capital expense. Capital expense comes in terms of funding from national and provincial government to upgrade your infrastructure and your hospitals and your clinics and all of those things. But 73% within eThekwini municipality of your operational expenditure comes directly from ratepayers. Now, I'm going to give you something and I'm going to try and make you match the two. We have 595 informal settlements, which currently don't pay rates. Now, the question I raise, who covers the CSW services, the water that's given free, and all of that? And I'm saying, yes, we should be pro-poor, we should speak to socioeconomic problems, and nor am I saying that these 595 informal settlements should be paying, but ultimately someone needs to be paying. Now, if 73% of the operational expenditure needs to service them, then local government cannot afford to keep on burdening the ratepayer towards covering those expenses, which are now becoming more and more exorbitant. And I can guarantee you, in the next two cycles of local government, cities like this would become, you wouldn't be able to live here. It would become unaffordable because the amount of rates and electricity that you need to pay would not fit what you actually receive in terms of services back. And that's what it is.
My final question then, how do you propose we move forward on this very, very, um, gosh, crazy situation that we find ourselves in?
We need to always tap into things that government doesn't want us to tap into. Currently, ratepayer associations are not recognized by local government. And we are saying that if I pay someone, we need to mobilize all those paying citizens, get them together in their little bodies, not major big bodies, right? Little bodies. It can be your street, it can be two roads, it can be 5 streets. Get together. But when you form the Ratepayer Association, make sure you got a mandate. You've got the electricity account numbers. You clearly understand how much each person pays towards rates. Leave the electricity part, water, sanitation, DSW, all of that. That we can compartmentalize and put and speak to those departments respectfully. But when we're talking to rates itself, we want to be asking local government, when we pay rates, what are we paying for? Tell us. Tell us that 70% of your rates goes towards lifesavers, metro police, street lighting and roads and all of that across the city. But 30% needs to be spent on the street from which it is derived. Now, the question we now raise is, if anyone goes back and ask yourself, what services was provided on your street, and calculate just in your street, you'd see that there is a lack of service delivery based on the fact that you pay rates. And this is what we are mobilizing against. We are saying local government needs to be held accountable by the ratepayer who contributes 73% towards operational expenditure. It's as simple as that, Julie. At the end of the day, if you go to Vodacom and you give them 100 Rand for 100 minutes of airtime and they give you 50 minutes back, are you going to protest or not? Why are we not protesting? Why are we
Right.
not
Okay.
protesting? We need to stand up. Thank you.
Great to have chatted with you, and I hope that that protest starts happening sooner rather than later. And of course, we here at Salam Media are going to follow this. So thank you for talking with us. All the very best, and Salaam Alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
9:31 News and Views right here on Salam Media. Dr. Kerr Lewis is on standby to talk to us. He is a legal expert. We are going to be unpacking the private prosecution the scenario on private prosecution through this interview, but do stand by. We're going to go for a quick ad break, and then we'll be talking to Dr. Llewellyn Kerr Lewis.